This morning, in my quiet time, in my meditation prayer, in just the time of seeking, I was led to read Psalm 27. Now, for me, my journey has led me away from the tradition of church, and many things were affiliated with the tradition of church, the tradition of who God was, the definition or the many definitions that I learned, that I now have gone through a journey, and I almost feel like I am circling back around. But now it feels like this coming back around, it allows me to see things in a totally different way. By that I mean all the definitions of what I've learned in a religious sense have all changed. They mean something totally different. But now I am a living epistle of who God is. I am a particle, and I no longer seek God outside of myself, but I see myself as much as I will allow myself to align. For they that worship must worship, or they that align must align in spirit, which means the prayer, the meditation, the sixth sensory coming out of my five senses. That is what has made the difference. And so when I began my journey initially, I found myself in a bit of tug of war mentally, emotionally, with my belief system. And it was really semantics. However, I didn't know it at the time, that one thing meant another. And that was what I was meant to find out. What were the differences? What were the similarities? What was it that I was to learn? And what was going on? It was a difficult journey, and still is a challenge, because the more you open the door and allow this universal life force I call God to come in, it opens up to an infinite, to your infinites, it opened me up to my infinites. So in my excitement, of course, I wanted to share that information with everybody that I knew, that I came across. I was filled with this new knowledge, I thought, and I could show people and share this beauty that I was experiencing, this new knowledge that I was experiencing with others, especially my loved ones. And I did not know how that was to be done. I just shared what I knew. I shared what I was learning, and it was not received in the way I expected. And that is something that can be very discouraging to anyone who is on your journey. Sharing information before it's time, because it can be detrimental. It can reveal things to people who want to take advantage of you. It could, and it will, help you to see those things that you need to separate from as you move forward on this journey. And I say journey simply because there is no end game. In other words, there is no time frame. There's really no destination that you can formally see, because back to the sixth sensory, where you have to release what you can see, hear, taste, touch, and smell, and go into your sixth sense. That is where you begin to understand the knowing the 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 hearing, the visuals, far beyond what your five senses can conjure. And I understood that the more I moved forward, that my five senses were based on everything that I've learned in my physical body. In other words, from the time I was born, and along the way, belief systems, values, standards, all of those things, all of the experiences created how my five senses responded and reacted. And so along the journey, you don't know where you're going, but you're just intuitively guided. You find out, or things are revealed about yourself that must be acknowledged. And until they are acknowledged, you won't be able to move forward. But when they are acknowledged, you are led along a path that separates you from your norm, your comfort zone, what you know to be true. Now, this is where the tug of war came in for me. When the belief systems were challenged, when everything that was considered my norm or my comfort zone was challenged, then it began to become like, am I going to go to hell? Am I losing my mind? Why are these things happening to me? Is this really true? Because the things that were happening, I was being transformed by the renewing of my mind. And I didn't know this is how I was becoming that living epistle, or I was becoming a living disciple, or I was a warrior in training, right? And I did not know, but I was just following what I knew, following what intuitively became real. How did I begin to trust myself and trust my intuition to get to the point where I was comfortable in doing and saying, being? Well, that took trial and error, trust me. And that's required, because if it's new and you don't know what to do, you go along the way, unless you are you have an outside picture or guide or support who knows this way. Otherwise, you are being intuitively guided, which really is sharpening your intuitive skills. And so, going along this way, I learned intuitively to pay attention to patterns that were happening in my life. For an example, I began to wake up very early in the morning, around 3 o'clock. At first, it was just 3 o'clock. And at first I wasn't thinking of it too strange, because I'm such an early bird that I usually get up, early to go start my day, exercise, whatever it is I would do. And at the time, I was getting up to go exercise early anyway, so it was kind of, I didn't pay attention to it initially. But then I recognized that not only was I being awakened at a certain time, but I was being led to do certain things. And for me, I was led to YouTube. And this is the thing, being led to things that are unfamiliar, but when you get there, you find that there is something that is for you. And that's what happened. I kept finding that every time I turned on YouTube, and I wasn't watching YouTube prior to any of this, so to be led this way, or to even turn on the TV, I might have thought that I was turning on the television because I was bored. Let's see this, and this is how you are intuitively guided, but you're not conscious of it, right? And so when I did turn on YouTube, there were certain programmings that would just pop up. And when they popped up, they had information that really got me to thinking. They began a process in my mind that started to arrest and calm the fear and trepidation I was having about church and whether it was right and whether I was going to go to hell and am I doing it right. It began to level it out for me. And when that happened, I began to trust myself and other instruments and skills begin to develop, which of course takes you to a different level. But it all begins when you let go of what you believe and allow your higher self to begin to reveal to you who and what you are, when and what you need, when and what to do, and how to do it. So I guess that's a long way of telling you that I am reading Psalm 27 because I've come back to the place where this particular part or the Psalms have become the words that I use that are so beautifully put together. As a matter of fact, the book of Psalms is called the book of, I think they call it, let me see, the perfect prayer book. And so as I am feeling, as I'm on this journey and leveling up and learning new feats and, feeling like that show that I've never seen, but I've heard the title, Naked and Afraid, I have been led to the Psalm. And today's Psalm 27 was the Psalm of the day where my confidence in who I am, the goddess, the essence of God. I am a portion of this omniscience, this omnipresence, this omnipotence. And as I yield and align with it, there is no need for me to fear. And I just wanted to encourage you to know that as you're on your journey, you'll be led to seek higher heights, but to remember that you've been this way before, not only maybe in another lifetime, but because in this lifetime you've had experience prior to that have shown you that you have the capacity to overcome, to endure, to learn. So as you refocus these energies, please be aware that you are able to do all things. And you're able to do all things because you are a portion, a particle of this omnipresence, omniscience, and omnipotence. So as you are intuitively guided throughout your day and throughout your journey, know that no weapon formed against you can prosper. Set your intentions. And don't forget to mirror you. Be balanced, be inspired, and continue to grow.